Both short-term rental properties and long-term rental investment properties can either be a good investment or not. Today, I'm going to share some pros and cons to help you decide which of these properties, long-term or short-term, you would like to include in your real estate investment portfolio. Hi, I'm Laura Staves with the Saltwater Shores team of Keller Williams Lone Star here in the fast-growing beach town of Port Aransas, Texas. Long-term rental properties versus short-term rental properties. First, what is the difference? A short-term rental property typically rents from 1 to 30 days, and a long-term rental property typically rents for 6 to 12 months. A long-term rental on the income, that's usually consistent. A short-term rental income is usually seasonal. For this purpose, I'm going to use a short-term rental example of a vacation home. If you're buying an investment property in a ski resort, then your income is mostly going to be generated during the winter months when people are able to ski during the snow season. And if you're buying an investment property in a coastal area, then your income is primarily going to be generated during the spring and summer months. Of course, there are vacationers who prefer to vacation in these locations off-season. The income produced during the off-season can be really good, but it is usually supplemental and not necessarily the main income for your investment. So some of the advantages of a long-term rental property include a longer lease term, which could generate more consistent income. You're going to have income day after day, month after month. Those checks are just going to keep coming. Another advantage is that the lawn may be maintained by the renter, as are the utility bills. The renter typically will pay for the utilities, and you'll be able to hold a higher security deposit in case of damages. Speaking of damages, that brings me to the disadvantages of a long-term rental property. You do have a higher risk of property damage. The longer someone is staying in that property, the more chances are they're going to spill something on the carpets or, whatever they would do to damage the property. Also, there is a higher chance of having to evict the renter. Say they just decided to quit paying their rent for whatever reason, they lost their job, or just quit paying rent. There is the potential that they would have to be evicted. You do have lower profit margins on a long-term rental property, and that would be primarily because the rents are lower on a long-term basis. And you cannot increase your rents during the lease term. You are tied to that lease term before you have any rental increases. Some of the advantages of a short-term rental property include my favorite, personal use for vacation. It's everyone's dream to have a beach house where they can go to the beach and have their vacation at the property they own and then rent it out and let it pay for itself whenever they're not living there or not staying there. Another advantage is you do have a less risk for damage. There's less times that the property is occupied. A lot of times the people are out at the beach during the day or up on the ski slopes during the day, and so maybe they're just sleeping on the property. So you also have a higher income potential because you are able to charge higher rates on a daily basis. And then your rents can be increased for demand. If it's a period where the demand is really high, then you can charge a higher daily rate. And then also you can lower the rate if the demand is not very high. If it's a slower time in the season and you want to lower the rate just to try to get a renter in and generate some more income, you can do that. It's a lot more flexible. The disadvantages of a short-term rental property are that the furnishings must be maintained. You do have linens and dishes and furniture, things that you have to keep up with in the property. You also may have occupancy limits and local regulations and permits, hotel taxes, that type of thing that you're going to have to deal with. And the biggest disadvantage is just that the income is not as consistent. You may have a few months when it's during the off season or just times in general because you don't have a specific lease that you are not generating income. My advice to you is to consider your goals for your portfolio. As in all investments, it's a good idea to diversify. So you may want to own several types of each rental property. You may want to have long-term properties and some short-term rental properties in your portfolio. And if you're interested in finding out more information about properties for sale in the Port Aransas, North Padre, Rockport, Fulton Beach, Copano Bay areas, both long-term rentals and short-term or full-time living, I'd be happy to help. Please drop a comment below or feel free to text or call me. And don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. We publish videos every week about the Texas Coastal Bend, from restaurants to fun places to go, good things to do in this area, and property tours, just information that's needed in general.